Bill Perry's left the lifeguard gave. He's gone to his long rest. We'll write this line above his grave. He fought to be the best.
Good morning, my name is Robert Hazel. I'm the chairman of the Tipton Town Library's local history group. It's the 25th of April 2025 and we're here to officially launch the opening of the new Tipton Slasher Heritage Trail. We're at St John's Church, Hazel.
We've been in a sort of a bit of a state of chaos during and since COVID. It didn't do this project any good at all, but there's two big bright spots to St John's. The one is the organ, which is almost fully restored, and Tim, who restored it and comes down to play it occasionally. We will be doing a few more recitals this year, and we do recommend that you come and listen to that, because to see it there you'll think, well, what's that? It's actually one of the best organs possibly in the world, people have told us, for its size and its age, 1886. Magnificent instrument that came back from pigeons living in it, and 6 notes working, to basically fully restored and playing absolutely amazing. And the other bright spot is the work that Robert's been doing with the Tipton local history group to restore the Tipton Slasher grave. And while we're too busy really with other things, he's kept the Tipton Slasher element of the project ticking over, while we haven't had a chance to run much in the way of events and do much. So we're basically still rebuilding the project post-COVID. We're after volunteers. If anybody's interested in joining us, we've got some great volunteers, but they really only come in 1 day a week, so we can only open the project 1 day a week, which is unfortunate. Ideally we'd have it open 7 days a week. We did at one point have it open 7 days a week. So we want to thank Robert and all his colleagues and everybody for the money they've raised to restore the grave, which you can see later. And there's more goodies to come on that, which he will tell you about later, and other things they've been doing, the trial and whatnot, Robert will tell you all about, which ends here, which is fantastic. And there's another incentive for us to try and get more people in so that they'll come and see the place open, not a shut door, which you don't want when people are coming to a place on a trail. So there we are, and also, I don't know if anybody else is going to say it, but happy birthday for tomorrow.
Oh, thank you very much. Happy birthday. See, I was keeping that quiet.
Yeah,
He's got to add another song to his repertoire.
Before I tell you a little bit about the trail, Billy's here, and I can't miss an opportunity of getting Billy to come and say something. Do we all know Billy off the radio?
He's famous, isn't he?
He's famous.
TV celebrity.
He's just going to come and say a few words about the slasher.
Yeah, I did. I wasn't banking on coming. Said to Rob, I'll pop up from the radio. I suppose really the slasher is a bit like all of our heroes that are being forgotten, really. I mean, I do a lot of work in skills around here, and you sort of mentioned Jumping Joe Derby and like the Tipton Slasher, and the kids don't initially know about it, but then once you've finished the session with the kids and you say, well, go and find out about them now, they find it really, really interesting. You know, go and ask your aunties and your uncles, go and ask your mums and your dads and your nans and your granddads. So it's incredibly important to keep the names alive and to keep the legends alive, really, so that the kids of tomorrow, I mean, I know that, you know, I know they're there on the screens and they're doing, you've got to find a way to enter in kids' worlds. And once you can get into the world, you'll find they're fascinated by them. So it's folks like Rob who take it upon themselves to, you know, burn the candle for what it was, or fly the flag, who'll keep these things alive, and people like here at St John's Church that are adamant that somebody's going to recognise him. And what you've got to think of is, it might be 100 years from now, and we've gone, but one person might come in this churchyard, and they might see the gravestone, and they might think, I wonder who this bloke was, and it almost like lights a flame for them, and then they'll go back and carry the flame. It doesn't matter if it's only one person, as long as one person takes it upon themselves to, to take the responsibility to keep the flag flying. So well done to Rob. Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
And well done to the church for restoring the organ. We went to Albany Grammar School and ours was a bit like that. It was a massive, great big organ, and when they knocked the grammar school down, I think somebody down south brought this organ, otherwise it would have got lost. So it's welcome to everybody on Rob's behalf, and it's a really, really great thing. And let's hope that all of the heroes in the Black Country get recognised the same as the Slasher will. So, is that enough?
Lovely, that's good. Thank you very much. Right, thank you everybody. Now, we're here today, about the Slasher, but because of two things really. This was the catalyst for all the work that we did. And so it's a big thank you to Janine Fletcher from the Tipton Knit and Natter, who presented me with this. And like Billy says, when I was the library manager, I used to go into the schools, take a box of tricks, and I always used to take the Slasher. A lot of the kids thought it was Elvis when he first came out. But as you can see, he's a bit battered. He's had his last fight, I think, this knitted Slasher has. But what we decided to do, and again, thank you to my brother as well, we created a calendar called Where's Willie? And what we did, we took the Slasher around 12 places in the Black Country, various places that are really popular, and some like the Priory, which gets, every time there's a calendar, it's always the Black Country Museum or Dudley Castle. So we wanted to put the Dudley Priory and various places, and then by selling this, we raised the money to do what we wanted to do today. And that's to launch the Tipton Slasher Heritage Trail, which I'll show you now. And you'll be able to get one of these as you walk out. And as you can see, it's points of interest. When you open it up, the next part of the project is to get an interpretation board behind the Slasher's statue, so the people, like when the church is not open, could come and find out all about it. And there's a banner on the gate, and that's going to be the interpretation board. So it's all ready. We're just raising the funds now to get it properly put up. And again, there's a picture here. We've already mentioned him. But one of my old muckers, Chris Smith, was the fellow who did the last book on the Slasher called Slasher. And we used to love a chat, although we could both ball for England on the Slasher, couldn't we, Gal either? So when we got together, it was, did you know this? Did you know that? And it was always a font of knowledge. And when we used to do the history days at work at the library, everybody used to come in and say, I'm related to the Tipton Slasher. And you're thinking, okay. But a lady came in there once, and there's not many pictures of the actual Slasher, but we know one. It was a wood engraving that had gone to America, and I spoke to Chris several times. He was fascinated. This lady came in and just says, he was my great uncle. They said, my mum had a picture in the front room. I said, all right, so what did it look like? They said it was like a threepenny bit, and it was made of wood. And I thought, oh, right. I thought this could be the real. And I said, what happened to it? And he said, my brother emigrated to America and took it with him. So I shouted, Chris, and we were both like little lads thinking, we'll have to go and see her. So that's, when you put the story out there, who knows who's still out there with a story to tell. Now, the Heritage Trail is 6 places of interest. The fountain, that is training headquarters. There's the Coronation Gardens, and again the statue. A lot of things from the statue have all been paid for by public subscription, which obviously shows the love that the area still having for him, really. There's the Tipton Station, and there's the metal arches showing the Slasher's progress. There's the Boxing Club, which is still fighting William Perry's name. There's Gleefield's Library, and there's what's called the Neptune Mural. Now, when that was first commissioned, it was in the time of the Tipton City Challenge, and it was originally in the original Tipton and Closeley Building Society. Then it moved into the Neptune Health Centre. Well, one of the great things about running a local history group is we're always looking for different things. And Pat Kendrick, who was one of our original members who passed away last month, so it's nice to be able to mention it, came to a meeting and in the best black country says, "They're throwing that mural away." And we all knew of it, but it's massive, and we're thinking, well, what can we do? How can we rescue it? Well, I used to manage Gleefields Library, and fortuitously, my manager says it's due for a refurbishment, and you're having a special community room. Oh, right. So then I says, would we be able to put this mural up? And after going with Malcolm from the TCA on this really dodgy wagon where there was no health and safety involved at all, which involved me sitting on the mural while we took it to the library. And it takes pride of place in Gleefields Library now. And one of the great things is they run sessions where the kids come in, look at the mural, which shows the history of Tipton from the Battle of Tipton Green, Industrial Revolution, all up till the 90s. So they can write stories. We've done art competitions, all from this mural. So it's like Billy says, you've just got to find something that's a hook for people to get interested in. And then last but not least is St John's Church, which is the final resting place of the Slasher. And it's nice that the trail ends here, really. It's the last one in the calendar as well. So what we wanted to do, we just noticed that the grave could have done with a bit of TLC, really. And it's 100 years this year since it was paid for by public subscriptions. And what we're hoping that in another 100 years' time, another community group may come and look after it again. So what we want to do now is officially launch the Heritage Trail. So hopefully you'll go down. If you go into the fountain, tell Steve that you've seen it, where you've come from, and raise a point for the Slasher. And just take pride in one of our heroes, really, because we do forget, they are becoming forgotten. But the great thing about the Slasher is the boxing club keep his name going, and they fight under. And one of the things that we're hoping to do is to get a belt commission so they can actually fight for the William Perry belt, because we thought that would be quite nice. So I'd like to officially launch the Heritage Trail today, and also welcome you to come and have a look at the stone, the new renovated stone. On the table where we've got the raffle and whatever, there's some QR codes. Take one of those, because when you go home, if you put the QR code, or it's on YouTube, there's a 10-minute video showing how they repaired it, and it's really good. And I'll just give a bit of a plug. The music involves taken from a CD which we're selling out there as well. So I'll do my little bit of Del Boy selling. So again, thanks to Deb, thanks to the Tipton Local History Group for all their support, because you're only as good as the group that you keep company with, really. And we were 15 last year, so we celebrated our birthday, and it's an honour really to do it, really. So and thank you to Bill for all leaders on the radio, and for again, because it's just important, because these voices do get forgotten, don't they?
Yeah.
So without further ado, if you want to just shall we have a clap for the Heritage Trail? Yeah, but if you want to go down, just watch the ground, because it is. Thanks, Robert. It is uneven, to say the least.
Should we just carry on with what we've waited for you?
Yeah, we're going to come down. Yeah, we're going to come down. So if you want to lead the way.
On the 28th of March 2025, Tipton firm RJ Memorials undertook restoration work on William Perry's grave, which saw the memorial stone return to its original condition. After the launch of the Tipton Slasher Heritage Trail, the Tipton Town Library's local history group officially unveiled the restored grave.
And we'd like to restore back to its original marble. So without further ado, here's the new stone.
Wow. Hey! That's incredible, isn't it?
yeah, it's incredible because we thought they'd just clean it a little bit, but when it went back to the original marble, it was absolutely unbelievable.
So they've done anything to the base stone as well?
Yeah, what they've done,
the original stone?
The original stone, so they've repaired all the stone. So it should be good now for another 100 years. So, but the funny thing about the stone is, throughout its 100 years, different groups, there was somebody in the 70s who used to go into the local pub and they cleaned the stone up, and it was last cleaned in 1988. So it's nice that every now and again a community group thinks something needs doing and they actually step up and do it. But what's nice is, as I said, it's always been by public subscription, but using the knitted slasher, I think he's actually paid for his own grave last. So that's what we like about it as well. So, but it's really nice.
Do
you know when this stone was actually laid then? Was it right after he died or?
No, it was 1925 when the marble one.
So was he buried here, but then they did the stone after?
Yeah, because when he was buried, there was just like a little cross and a little thing. But the story is that his wife's buried in here as well with him, because his brother-in-law paid for him. Because when he lost his last fight against Tom Sayers, all he had left, because he bet everything on it, was £22 because the crowd had a £1 for the loser. So he came back, he'd lost his pub, he'd lost all his earnings. So when he died, he was penniless, really. But his wife had died a few months before, and his brother-in-law had paid for that, and that's the story. Although we don't really know, but that's the story why we think.
So you know, at the height of his fame, was he quite wealthy in relative terms?
When he first won the Champion of England, well, he fought somebody called Charles Freeman, who was known as the American Giant, and he lost to Charles Freeman, but they became really good friends, and they went on a tour of the country, and they were playing like theatres. Yeah. So they'd spar, then they'd come out, and he earned loads of money from that. So he did go from his time on the canal, so it was rags to riches to ruins. But
then he bet it all.
And then he bet it all. But the one thing that's really nice about the tale, and it's the tale we like to tell, it's things that people don't know, is that he had a waxwork at Madame Tussauds, which a lot of people didn't know that. And when he was in London, he met Charles Dickens and Thackeray, quite a lot of writers, and it's thought that the boxing things in Dickens' novels were stories that had come from the slasher.
Oh, okay.
Because he used to go to all the best parties in London because of his good looks. The women always used to fancy him. And then the fellas used to like to take the mick out of his black country accent. And that never changes anywhere you go, does it really? So,
does anything exist for him, like the boxing gloves or anything?
Well, he never had boxing gloves because he was bare.
Oh yeah, well, say the training equipment.
The only two things, and I think Chris was telling me about the one, he had a cuckoo clock that was a prize. That's out there, and there's a watch, a fob watch belonging to him, because he came up on eBay a few years ago. But I don't know where she went for. I bailed out. So don't look at it. So they're still on there, and Chris did a lot of work researching his family tree really as well. So and he found direct descendants in America and Australia as well. And again, we're here today thanks to like Chris, to Tom Langley who did the first book, Robert Davies who did a book as well. Everybody who's researched it really, because that enables me to do what I do, if you know what I mean, because the work's already been done.
Do you know his birthplace? Whether it was Tipton?
Yeah, it was Leabrook Road apparently,
Leabrook.
which was Tipton from Wednesbury, so I could claim him for Wednesbury.
No,
I might get into trouble. He could be the Wednesbury Whippet, I don't know. So,
is it right that his wife was from the boat in Thibodeau?
Yes, yeah. But they were quite, and his brother-in-law was a publican as well, which is where, and it was funny because it was something Chris said. If you look at his family tree, all the Perrys, nearly everybody was a publican.
How much about his ape?
His what?
His ape that he's trained with?
Well, his ape he won in a fight. Now there's a lot of stories about the ape. He won an ape as part of, because one of his legendary fights, he won a bag of sand and a donkey. So at the end, it was auctioned off and he just had the cash. But he won an ape and he used to train with it in the fountain. And one day he hit the ape, went down the stairs and it died. So he decided to have it stuffed. And he was in a local pub called the Three Horseshoes in Tipton, and he was in there for ages and ages. Then he went to another pub in Greatbridge, and somebody who used to be on the Friends of Greatbridge Library was the licensee there. Now the Black Country Museum have got a stuffed ape reported to be the Tipton Slasher ape, but I know that the licensee, it had become unkempt and smelly, and they burnt it in the back garden. So that's what happened to the ape.
An actual ape?
Yeah, an actual ape. Yeah.
What sort of ape?
I think they used to.
What sort of ape?
Like a chimp. Yeah.
A chimp.
I think they used to give anything.
Because you wouldn't take a mountain gorilla on, would you?
Although he may have beat him at the time, you never know. But I know the Black Country Museum have got an ape which they purport to be the ape.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, really. And you always find something else about him that you didn't know. Because I never knew about Dickens and all that, and Madame Tussauds, really. So there's still things to learn about him, really.
As its stories passed on, it gets a bit embellished and then a bit more. So you'd always.
Well, there's nothing like telling the story. Because I love to tell a tall tale myself, honestly. So, like you said, you do that, really. And the Todd Langley book, that was just his fights told to him by somebody in the pub who was there. So you didn't get like a proper, I don't say a proper book, that's wrong. Robert Davies did one, and it was his life on the canals. And then Penny Beauchamp did the story behind the statue, because he was one that helped raise, and he was one of the digger-uppers apparently. And then this Chris's last book, The Slasher, which I'd recommend it. But I think it's out of print now, isn't it?
I'm having some reprints.
Oh, are you? Because if you want one, that's the book. And it's not because I know Chris, but that is a really Chris Smith. It's just called Slasher.
Was he ever called up for a war, like the Boer War? Because that would have been that sort of time, wasn't he?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Well, would he physically? Because he had rickets.
He had rickets. That's why
he wouldn't have got him. I bet he wouldn't have got him.
Yeah. Because that's why he's known as K-leg. Because his bones were weak, and so that's where you get that stance from. But so let's just go and have a quick drink. But I'm glad everybody likes it.
It's lovely.
Yeah, they've done a really good job. It's unbelievable, really.
Bill Perry's lived the life God gave. He's gone to his long rest. We'll write this line above his grave. He fought and beat the best.